This is a Sandler training audiobook produced and distributed by Gildan Media, a division of Recorded Books, in partnership with Sandler Training. Transforming Leaders the Sandler Way by Dave Arch. Narrated by Sean Pratt. We hope you enjoy this program. Forward. Dave Arch's book, Transforming Leaders the Sandler Way, offers a user-friendly guide to 52 critical leadership lessons that support great careers and great teams. It's required listening for anyone who leads a team or aspires to. These 52 lessons in personal and team transformation are grounded in Sandler coaching principles, but they also draw on Dave's ample personal experience as an entrepreneur, coach, and mentor. Those familiar with the core Sandler concepts will find that they serve as the foundation of all that follows. Yet, Dave uses these principles to share important new insights about communication, integrity, and personal development. It's been my privilege to work with Dave and to see firsthand how he has put these ideas into practical application in his own business. Dave mentioned to me recently that, in one way or another, he's been working on this book for most of his adult life. Reading these pages, I had to agree that his personal experience is what sets it apart from the standard run of leadership books. This is something special, and you can prove that in your own world by implementing and reinforcing the concepts you will encounter in this book. Your team and your company will be glad you did. And so will you. David Mattson, President and CEO, Sandler Systems, Incorporated. 1. The Big Seven. Leadership starts in your own life and then radiates outward as an example to others. You can't transform a team or an organization until you've transformed yourself. With that idea in mind, I decided to write about the critical leadership principles that support great leaders, great careers, and great teams. Transformational leadership is leadership that starts in your own life, then radiates outward as an example to others. This book is divided into 7 sections. Each section reflects a quality I have seen exemplified in the character and work habits of the great leaders I've been privileged to work with over the years. Let's discuss each of those 7 now. A leader needs to be someone who has a demonstrated record of personal power. Now, how you define success is, of course, an individual matter. But if you expect to be followed, you must have achieved a measure of success in some area in which others want to achieve success. Others must be willing to follow you in the hope that you can lead them to similar success in their own world. So, what is your track record? And what abilities and special skills made that track record possible? Conviction means your ability to communicate in a positive way about what you think and strongly feel. Conviction literally means unshakable belief. It's what happens when you believe in something so deeply that it actually becomes a part of you. Are you willing to communicate that which is the deepest part of you? And are you eager to do so before anyone else communicates how they feel about the topic under discussion? Charisma means how effectively, quickly, and deeply you connect with others. How easy is it for people to get to know you? Think about figures like Kennedy, Eisenhower, and Reagan, whose ability to bond with others quickly was usually more relevant to problem-solving than their politics. Are you, like them, easy to like, or are you a lot to get past? People skills means the ability to read people and have influence with them. It includes the ability to read subtleties in people's body language. It also includes the ability to learn how to connect with somebody without overlooking the context in which you're communicating. At the end of the day, having people skills means being sensitive to all of the cues that people are sending your way in their communication with you. Courage is not necessarily about how confident you are as an individual. It has more to do with how secure you make others feel. Does your level of courage cause others to feel secure too? Courage that only causes those around you to remain fearful isn't the kind of courage I'm talking about in this section of the book. Ethics means that you act in accordance with clear, consistent principles that connect to a sense of right and wrong. You might not know in any given moment exactly what a leader is going to do, but you'll know within what boundaries that leader is going to do it because the leader has clearly communicated the principles and values that guide his or her life. And finally, expertise is different from what you do. It's what you know. What wisdom and insights do you possess as the result of your personal experience? Expertise is the practical wisdom that causes others to say, "Wow, I didn't see it that way." These are the 7 essential qualities of a leader. They support each other, and no truly great leader is missing any of the qualities. Each quality operates in an integrated manner with the other 6. You can consider the list, mentally remove any one of the points, and instantly understand how deeply any missing element would diminish a leader's strength. Consequently, each section in this book deals with a single item on the list. Transforming Leaders the Sandler Way is based on decades of experience as a Sandler trainer and in other roles, based on work with some of the greatest leaders in American business. It's designed to help you unpack each key point and strengthen your own leadership in all 7 areas. Personal power. Personal power is your understanding of the abilities and special skills that have made your past successes possible. Transformational topics. Ride the whole cab. Positional or earned. Life's report card. Success and possessions. The tombstone test. 2. Ride the whole cab. Distinguish the cognitive, attitudinal, and behavioral aspects of leadership. Any body of knowledge, including leadership development, has 3 different but complementary pathways to mastery. There are the cognitive aspects, the things you need to know in order to be a good leader. There are the attitudinal aspects, the attitudes you need to carry with you in order to be a good leader. And there are the behavioral aspects, those things you need to do in order to be a good leader. This book will be great at giving you the cognitive aspects. You will know a lot about leadership when you get done listening. The attitudinal and behavioral pieces, however, require a different development path in order to be put into place. Meeting regularly with an executive coach can help you put the attitudinal and behavioral pieces together. And by the same token, meeting with your manager and meeting with people who can give you feedback on how you're coming across can also help you to put the attitudinal and behavioral pieces together. That may include being involved in a 360-degree peer review where you get a comprehensive anonymous survey from those people around you. These results tell you not how you want to come across, but how you are coming across. That information has proven itself very powerful in changing attitudes and behavior. I began this section with the CAB acronym to remind you of the limitations of this book, or any book. What you will learn in this book will fill in the C blank, but you still need to call the rest of the cab. Here you will learn what a leader is. You will learn about leadership, but you will not become a leader by only focusing on the cognitive aspects of this content. So as we begin, I encourage you to combine the listening of this book with feedback from someone you can trust. A role model, a mentor, someone who will give you honest feedback based on their perception of you. That will help you close the gap on the attitudinal and behavioral components as well. 3. Positional or earned. Build leadership on the personal capital you've earned, not the title you hold. 1974 was a watershed year in the United States. For the first time, a president resigned from office. Regardless of what you think of Richard Nixon, or the Watergate scandal, or any other aspect of the unruly history of that era, There is an important leadership lesson to be learned from what happened in August of that fateful year. Prior to the social revolutions that began playing out in the 1960s, positional authority was very much the rule of the land. If your teacher told your parents that you acted out in school, then in most cases, you were in trouble. Period. There was no discussion about what happened or didn't happen. There were no conferences in the principal's office. 9 times out of 10, or maybe more, punishment was duly administered. Why? Because the teacher was an authority figure. A congressman, the president, a parent, a teacher, a boss. Indeed, any authority figure was respected, due to the position he or she held. It wasn't just parents. The press respected this too. We now know that there were many activities going on in President John F. Kennedy's White House that would have generated multiple high-profile scandals in our era. However, not a word of any of them made it into the press. Reporters, and everyone else, protected Kennedy's privacy out of respect for the office of the president. I'm sure President Nixon thought the rules would be the same for him when he took the oath of office. However, the rules had changed between Presidents Kennedy and Johnson. With the sole exception of the military, and even there, changes are coming, positional authority died in the early 1970s. Nevertheless, earned authority is still very much alive. This is authority based on the capital you have built up within the relationship. These days, earned authority counts more than positional authority. Effective leaders know this. You'll still see leaders who don't know any other way to engage their troops without pulling rank, and telling them what they should be doing without giving them a why. This is the Nixon approach. It often ends badly. Usually such an approach produces what might be called a compliant child or a rebellious child response, with the leader never really getting the truth from his or her direct reports. Management guru Peter Drucker spoke of the skills needed to manage a non-profit organization of volunteers. In such an organization, Drucker observed, one can't pull rank by threatening a pay cut or firing a person. He said that if every leader led the for-profit business as though it were a non-profit, morale would be higher and much greater productivity would result. Never settle for positional authority when the potential for earned authority exists. 4. Life's report card. Don't grade yourself in only one area of life. When considering what success means to you, it's important to consider that question in the context of your whole life. If I came home from school with a report card that had 2 D's, 2 F's, a C, and an A, my parents would not have considered that to be a good report card. Would yours? I didn't think so. Yet, too many people grade themselves only in one area of life as they seek to determine what success really means. This chapter asks you to consider your overall report card in multiple areas of your life. So consider, for instance, the person who receives an A in career. That's very successful, right? But look a little further down the report card, and you'll see an F in family, a D in friends, a D in faith, an F in health, and a B- in finances. As you consider what success means to you, and each of us have to provide our own definition, let me challenge you to be sure to consider success benchmarks that address all the important areas of your life, not just one. There are far fewer regrets when success is placed in that context. 5. Success and possessions. Success is not the same as owning things. When one begins to pursue success, there's usually a trap waiting to be discovered. Success is not the same as owning or possessing things. Many people purchase things in order to help them feel successful. If they're wearing the right clothes, driving the right car, living in the right neighborhood, then they feel successful. That's the trap. There are just never enough things to keep one feeling successful. Some people may even go deeper and deeper and deeper into debt in an effort to satisfy a craving that can only be met on the inside first. If you only feel successful when you purchase things, you have the cart in front of the proverbial horse. However you choose to define success, you will want to watch out for this trap. 6. The Tombstone Test. What do you want written on your tombstone? This is a simple exercise that can yield profound results. Ask yourself, what do you want written on your tombstone following your death? Your honest answer to that question will bring to the surface those values that are most important to you. Those are the values for which you want to be remembered. The obvious next question is, are you contributing to the epitaph with the choices you make about how you're investing your life today? Great leaders do make sure that a focus on what's truly important in their life remains, no matter how busy or preoccupied they may get. They're not frightened of this question. They find within it their desired energy, passion, and drive for accomplishing their daily responsibilities, with an eye on their ultimate legacy. Conviction. Conviction is your ability to communicate in a positive way about what you think and strongly feel. Transformational topics. Passion. Inner drive. Finding gratitude. Never enough. 7. Passion. Connect with people on the level of thoughts and feelings. Just about everyone agrees that passion is an indispensable component of good leadership. But what is passion? And why is it so powerful? People communicate on many different levels and convey many different messages. Pleasantries, cliches, facts about others, facts about yourself, your thoughts, and your feelings. The deepest part from which we share is our thoughts and our feelings. I can talk in pleasantries and cliches and not make myself vulnerable to anyone. For instance, if a baseball team that you and I both like is in the World Series, I can mention that, and you and I can have a conversation about it. I can tell you facts about others and not be vulnerable. I can even tell you facts about myself and not necessarily be vulnerable. However, when I start sharing with you my most important thoughts and my feelings, I open myself up to your judgment, and I do become vulnerable. When two people connect authentically on the level of thoughts and feelings, they have connected on the deepest level. And that's what passion is all about. Passion says, I don't care what anyone else says about this. This is who I am. I believe strongly that so-and-so needs to happen. Passion declares one's thoughts and feelings unilaterally, disregarding in the moment how others might feel about them. It takes a certain amount of trust in someone else to share that, in any relationship. Once you do share it, people know exactly where you stand. Without any analysis, others who see passion from you understand that you are being openly, consciously vulnerable about what you believe without care for your own safety. You are stating just how strongly you feel about something, just how important it is to you that something happens or doesn't happen. You are going out on a limb. That takes personal strength, and personal strength is what gives passion so much power. It takes strength to be passionate, to be enthused, and go after something, to unilaterally declare your thoughts and feelings. That's why there aren't many who do it, and why passion is one of the indispensable components of being a good leader. 8. Inner drive. Tap into sources of internal energy. No doubt you've seen people who always seem to need some kind of external motivation to get things done. If someone wasn't standing over them with a stick, they just didn't do anything. And I bet you've seen others who get up early and stay up late, who pursue their dreams day after day after day, and continue to work as though propelled from some inner force. There are 4 sources of internal energy that require no external stimulus whatsoever. Let's begin with personal passion. When you find out what you love to do, what excites you most about life, the child inside of you says, I really enjoy doing this. So, what do you want to do, love to do, and believe in doing? The answer to that is an internal form of energy. Next is aptitude. When you're doing something you're good at, that can be energizing. This has its limits, of course. You can be very good at typing and not feel energized while you're doing it. But you see what I'm getting at. Mastery in a given area often carries its own internal energy. Then there is values. When you're doing something that supports your values, you find satisfaction and motivation. The last source, purpose, may sound a little more nebulous, but it's just as important. All the truly successful people I have ever met had an indescribable sense of purpose, of destiny, of this is what I was made to do. They have this internal compass that points them toward what they were created to do, what is a perfect fit for them. Sometimes this purposeful internal energy comes from looking at the unique circumstances in their lives and what they were given. What experiences they were given that others weren't. What hardships they overcame, and what they were uniquely prepared to do. If you have all four of these dynamics going for you, then you have internal motivation, which is a universally admired trait among great leaders. Whenever a person is able to bring together personal passion with aptitude, with values, and with a true sense of purpose, that person has found the bullseye. No one has to get that individual out of bed in the morning. Internally motivated people go after what they really want, not because someone else told them to, but because they've found their own four internal sources of energy. 9. Finding gratitude. Authentic gratitude motivates and inspires others. A spirit of gratitude has to be one of the strongest internal sources of energy upon which any leader can draw. I've seen this truth firsthand. I've seen it in Togo, West Africa, where highly motivated leaders propel themselves forward with a spirit of deep gratefulness for what little they have. And I've also seen the other side of the coin, where some leaders I've worked with have lost altitude because they couldn't manage to find gratitude in the midst of all they'd been given. This chapter seeks to help us identify the components that either deliver gratitude or sap our lives of this life-giving force. Gratitude is found in the comparison of what you believe you deserve with what you have been given or not given. By not given, I'm not speaking about a Porsche, a large home, or lots of money. I'm speaking about the fact that you weren't given, say, leukemia, cancer, or children with those conditions, assuming that to be true for the sake of the example. Imagine a line at a 45-degree angle with the words, "What I deserve," on the half closest to the base. The other half contains the word gratitude, with a hash mark dividing the two sides. We all have to fill in that blank for ourselves. What do you feel you deserve in life? What does life owe you? As the hash mark on the line moves lower, that is, as you feel you deserve less, the greater your capacity for gratitude will be. So, if gratitude is lacking in your life, check yourself on what you believe you deserve. It might need adjusting. Then, check your grateful list to make sure it includes those things that have not happened to you, as well as those which have. Making changes in either or both directions helps great leaders find the gratefulness they need to inspire and motivate others. What can you be grateful for right now? 10. Never enough. True leaders do not brood on difficult events. If you've ever known someone who just couldn't seem to find the deep, productive energy that comes from gratefulness, you'll want to consider this chapter closely. Think of someone you know who encountered some event or events that he or she deemed so unfair that no matter how many good events were added, to the other plate of the scale, they can never balance out the difficult experiences. Nothing is ever enough. True leaders don't brood on difficult events. Don't be a never-enough person. And when you run into such people, see if you can help them to change the way they look at the world. The following quote from author Melody Beattie is a good place to start. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Melody Beattie. 11. Live intentionally. Have goals, plans, and the vitality to pull the trigger. A great leader lives and leads intentionally. Many others simply allow life to happen to them. A great leader, on the other hand, has goals and plans and the vitality to pull the trigger on those goals and plans. This creates energy, enthusiasm, and passion. I run into plenty of so-called leaders who are merely living life aimlessly. They imagine they are helping others reach their goals and plans without any defined goals and plans of their own. In fact, they are usually more of a hindrance than a help to the people they lead. When I use the two words live intentionally in my executive coaching sessions, no person has ever failed to understand what I meant. Do you desire such a life? You already know the answer. To a true leader, intentional living isn't an option. It's a necessity. Charisma. Charisma is your ability to connect effectively, quickly, and deeply with others. Transformational topics. Charisma defined. The relationship pyramid. Gender matters. Personality matters. Transactional matters. Dysfunctional PAC. Actions versus words. Networking. A lot to get past. 12. Charisma defined. Are you moving the relationship forward? Certainly in a leader's skill set, charisma is an indispensable component. Most people don't grasp, however, that charisma has to do with what you choose to communicate about, and when. Cliché is the shallowest of the levels of communication. This level of communication is also known as the pleasantry. That is, hey, how's it going? Hey, what's happening? Isn't the weather great? Absolutely. Facts about others might include, did you hear what happened to... Or, did you know that so-and-so went on a trip to... Facts about yourself become more personal. That is, I was born in Ohio. I had a family of 5. Or, my dad worked at the coal mine. Facts about your thoughts and feelings sound like this. Here's what I think about... Or, here's how I feel about that. People beginning a relationship typically begin at the cliché level. That's the safest level. Obviously, if a man passes a lady in the hall and says to her, "How's it going?" and she ignores him, that's probably where the relationship is going to stop. Either party can stop the movement towards the middle level, the level of facts about others and facts about oneself at any time. It takes two to move towards the middle. But let's say the lady says, "Fine, how's it going with you?" And he says, "Fine," and they both smile. Then the next time they see each other, it's in the break room, and they pass and they say, "Hey, did you hear that?" And they talk about something that they'd both heard about some celebrity or politician. Pretty soon they're saying, "Are you from around here?" And then the next thing you know, they're each talking about where they were born. If both are in agreement about forward motion in the relationship, they continue to move up that pyramid until, guess what? They're talking about their thoughts. They're talking about their feelings, and they've reached that deepest part of revealing and sharing themselves. That's where they're going to be most vulnerable because That's where the opportunity for rejection is the highest. Leaders who understand this progression work through the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?